Hello world, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Mass Effect Blind. My name is Kelthos, and in the last episode we had spent all of the episode pretty much talking to various members of our crew and getting to know them a little better, and we learned a little more about the Krogans, and we were in the midst of learning a little more about the Quarians when I had to go. So in this episode we're going to finish reading the Codex entries about the Quarians and talk to whoever else we can find around this area, and then we will leave and go to Nevaria. Or leave the ship and go on to Nevaria. So here we go. Quarians' government. Due to the Quarians' precarious existence and the need to enforce strict rationing, government is somewhat autocratic. The migrant fleet's operations are directed by the Admiralty, a board of 5 military officers who are advised by a legislative body called the Conclave. Each vessel in the fleet has the right to send representatives to the Conclave aboard the flagship. The number of representatives is based on the crew size. Larger clans with bigger ships and more votes form the cores of political blocs. Opposition comes from the Outstriders coalition with delegates from thousands of smaller ships. The Admiralty defers to the Conclave's decisions in most circumstances. However, if all 5 members agree that a Conclave decision jeopardizes the survival of the fleet and cannot get the Conclave to address their concerns, they have the right to summarily overturn the legislative decision. After the Admiralty uses this extraordinary power, they must resign. If the Admiralty does not step down after using their veto, the rest of the military is obliged to arrest them. Each ship captain has authority over his vessel, but is advised by an elected civilian council, just as the Admiralty is advised by the Conclave. This relationship may range from cooperation to polite tolerance to outright hostility, but any captain who overrules his council without good reason is relieved of command by the Admiralty. Many Quarian ships are owned by clans who pool their resources to purchase used vessels from private sellers. Large ships are prestigious for big, rich clans, but a small ship means status for a smaller clan with enough personal wealth to afford a private vessel. Clan vessel captains are not subject to dismissal. Clan vessel captains are not subject to dismissal by the Admiralty. Abusive captains are a family problem if they do not disrupt the operations of the fleet. That makes sense. Migrant fleet. The migrant fleet is the largest concentration of starfaring vessels in the galaxy, sprawling across millions of kilometers. It can take days for the entire fleet to pass through a mass relay. When the Quarian fled their homeworld, the fleet was a motley aggregation of freighters, shuttles, industrial vessels, and the odd warship. After 3 centuries, all have been modified to support larger crews as comfortably as possible. As the Quarians achieved stability, they began weeding out the ships least suitable for long-term habitation, selling them and pooling the money to buy larger and more seaworthy hulls. This process is ongoing as vessels wear out and break down. While some ships enjoy dedicated cabins with full privacy and sanitary facilities, many more are former freighters whose cargo bays and containers are pressurized and divided into family spaces using simple metal cubicle bulkheads. The Quarians enliven these austere spaces with colorful quilts and tapestries, which also help muffle sound. The day-to-day operations of the fleet, traffic control, station keeping, supply distribution, and so on, are under military jurisdiction. Though ship captains have the authority to deviate from their assigned positions and may leave the fleet at any time, they are assumed to do so at their own risk. As the migrant fleet moves around the galaxy, many ships split off to pursue individual goals, returning days or years later. That's good that they can leave, though, and that they're like not banished if they leave. They can come back. Anyway, what's going on over here? Core charge station. Okay, what's that? Whoops. Ships and vessels. I think it's this one. FTL drive charge. As positive or negative electric current is passed through an FTL drive core, it acquires a static electrical charge. Drives can be operated an average of 50 hours before they reach charge saturation. This change is proportional to the magnitude of mass reduction. A heavier or faster ship reaches saturation more quickly. If the charge is allowed to build, the core will discharge into the hull of a ship. All ungrounded crew members are fried to a crisp. All electronic systems are burned out, and metal bulkheads may be melted and fused together. The safest way to discharge a core is to land on a planet and establish a connection to the ground, like a lightning rod. Larger vessels like dreadnoughts cannot land and must discharge into a planetary magnetic field. The ship passes the charge from the drive core to the exterior armored hull, then dives into the magnetic field. As the hull discharges, sheets of lightning jump away into the field, creating beautiful auroral displays on the planet. The ship must retract its sensors and weapons while dumping charge to prevent damage, leaving it blind and helpless. Discharging at a moon with a weak magnetic field can take days. Discharging into a powerful field of a gas giant may require less than an hour. Deep space facilities such as the Citadel often have special discharge facilities for visiting ships. Well, that's good that they have that sort of thing. Hi.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's
Yeah.
been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
Is she bothering you?
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is.
She is pretty smart.
Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
She's useful. Investigate stealth system. Personal question. Yeah, stealth system.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up.
Makes sense.
Unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
Makes sense. So we're invisible?
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Makes sense. FTL gives
Why
us
doesn't it
away?
work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up the FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
We have the only one? Wow. I didn't know that. Normandy.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed, and she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
Drive core?
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Oh, okay.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from
least you have
dreadnoughts and
experience, that's
carriers
good.
right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Alright, I'll
Carry
see you
on,
later.
Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
We leveled up just from getting Codex entries, and we have some more Codex entries. So let's level up real quick. We're going to unlock sniper rifles. Now we have all of our stuff unlocked, which is good. And what else are we close to? We're close to that. Close to that. I would like advanced first aid. So let's work towards that. Okay. Codex entries, ships and vehicles.
Faster-than-light drives use element zero cores to reduce the mass of the ship, allowing higher rates of acceleration. This effectively raises the speed of light within the mass effect field, allowing high-speed travel with negligible relativistic time dilation effects. Starships still require conventional thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, economy ion engine, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core.
Probably because they can't afford to make only a core.
Ship has no motive power. The amount of EZO and power required for a drive increases exponentially to the mass being moved and the degree it is being lightened. Very massive ships or very high speeds are prohibitively expensive. If the field collapses while the ship is moving at faster than light speed, the effects are catastrophic. The ship is snapped back to sublight velocity, the enormous excess energy shed in the form of lethal Cherenkov radiation. Larger warships are generally classified in one of 4 weights. Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting
pretty much
and
read about
speeding
this
of larger
earlier.
vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates.
But I think this has a little more information, so that's why I'm letting it go.
Often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters.
That's a lot of different kinds of ships. I don't know if I'll remember all those, but... Where's the other one then? There it is. Ships and vehicles. Starship sensors. Light lag prevents sensing in real time at great distances. A ship firing its thrusters at the Charon relay can be easily detected from Earth, 5.75 light hours, 6 billion kilometers away, but Earth will only see the event 5 hours and 45 minutes after it occurs. Due to the light speed limit, defenders can't see enemies coming until they have already arrived. Because there is FTL travel and communications, but no FTL sensors, frigates are crucial for scouting and picket duties. Passive sensors are used for long-range detection, while active sensors obtain short-range, high-quality targeting data. Passive sensors include visual thermographic and radio detectors that watch and listen for objects in space. A powerful ship emits a great deal of energy. The heat of the life support systems, the radiation given off by the power plants and the electrical equipment, the exhaust of the thrusters. Starships stand out as plainly against the near absolute zero background of space. Passive sensors can be used during FTL travel, but incoming data is significantly distorted by the effects of the mass relay envelope and Doppler shift. Active sensors are radars and high-resolution LADARs, laser detection and ranging, that emit a ping of energy and listen for return signals. LADARs have a narrower field of view than radar, and lateral resolution allows images of detected objects to be assembled. Active sensors are useless when a ship is moving at FTL speeds. Makes sense. Alright, anything else? There's a lot of information we got, which I like. Don't get me wrong, I really do. Okay, now we're going to try to get off this ship unless I run into somebody else. I always forget that I have to go down this way to get out. What is this? Heat load monitor. Oh, another Codex entry. Ships and vehicles. Heat management. Dispersal of heat generated by onboard systems is a critical issue for a ship. If it cannot deal with heat, the crew may be cooked within the hull. Radiation is the only way to shed heat in a vacuum. Civilian vessels utilize large, fragile radiator panels that are impossible to armor. Warships use diffuse radiator arrays, or DRA, ceramic strips along the exterior of the armored hull. These make the ship appear striped to thermographic sensors. Since the arrangement of the strips depends on the internal configuration of the ship, the patterns for each vessel are unique and striking. On older ships, the DRA strips could become red or white hot, dubbed tiger stripes or war paint by humans. The glowing DRA had a psychological impact on pirates and irregular forces. Strip radiators are not as efficient as panels, but if damaged by enemy fire, the ship only loses a small portion of its total radiation capacity. In most cases, a vessel's DRA alone allows it to cruise with no difficulties. Operations deep within a solar system can cause problems. A ship engaged in combat can produce titanic amounts of heat from maneuvering, burns, and weapons fire. When fighting in a high heat environment, more ships employ high-efficiency droplet heat sinks. In a droplet system, tanks of liquid sodium or lithium absorb heat within the ship. The liquid is vented from spray nozzles near the bow as a thin sheet of millions of micrometer scale droplets. The droplets are caught at the stern and recycled into the system. A droplet system can sink 10 to 100 times as much heat as DRA strips. Droplet sheets resemble a surface ship's wake through the water. The wake peels out in sharp turns, spreading a fan of droplets as the ship changes vectors and leaves the coolant behind. That seems more effective than the other strips they were talking about and stuff. But I do not know. What's going to happen if I talk about it?
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
Earning medals is hard. That's not why I'm here. You sure you want that?
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point.
Oh,
They'd probably make me shave, too.
Reason.
I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
How'd you get your nickname?
Why
I think
does
I
everyone
asked you
call
that
you
before,
Joker?
but I don't remember.
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
That's no
You're
answer.
dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name.
Yeah, we already skipped
One of the
it.
instructors
I'm
in
gonna
flight
skip
school
that
used to
because we
bug
already
me
did
about
that.
never smiling. She started calling me Joker. and it
Ship
stuck.
status report.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her.
Which we
Balance
do.
isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
All right.
I have to
Goodbye.
go.
All right, see you.
Pretty much nothing that we haven't already heard. But I thought they would be. Look outside. What? Codex. Ships and vehicles.
Faster than light drive, ship mobility dominates space combat. The primary objective is to align the mass accelerator along the bow with the opposing vessel's broadside. Battles typically play out as artillery duels, fought at ranges measured in thousands of kilometers, though assaults through defended mass relays often occur at knife fight ranges, as close as a few dozen kilometers. Most ship-to-ship engagements are skirmishes between patrol vessels of cruiser weight and below, with dreadnoughts and carriers only deployed in full-scale fleet actions.
Because they're
Battles
probably
in open
expensive
space
and
are
huge
short
and slow.
often inconclusive, as the weaker opponent typically disengages. Once a ship enters FTL flight, the combat is effectively over. There are no sensors capable of tracking them, or weapons capable of damaging them. The only way to guarantee an enemy will stand and fight is to attack a location they have a vested interest in, such as a settled world or a strategically important mass relay.
That also makes sense because you're not going to risk your life for a battle just for the hell of it. You'd need to have a reason. So, all right, let's exit with Liana and Garrus again, and go. Yes.
Equalizing interior pressure with exterior atmosphere.
All right.
Logged. The commanding officer is ashore. Exo Presley has the deck.
As usual. Oh, there's the timer. Enter the Normandy, and that's how we exit. Okay. Alright, before we go any further, just in case it heads into a cutscene, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry that we spent we spent all of the episode on the ship, but I really love reading those Codex entries and learning more about the species and the world in general. Even though I don't understand a lot of the technical babble, but I still like to learn about it and figure it out along the way. So I hope you guys didn't mind that. But in the next episode, there'll be a lot more action because we're going to actually go on Navira and see what's going on. But yeah, I want to thank you all for watching, and if you like what you see, I suggest you subscribe to my channel so you can see the new videos I post every single day. And if you really like the videos, I'd really like it if you could leave a thumbs up and a comment. That way I could have some interaction on my channel and know that people are actually watching and actually care. And if you want to know when I post my videos, exactly when I post them, the best way to do that is to turn on your notifications as well. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.